Looks like we got even more Payday 3 news to talk about today, and it's all about one guy you all know and love. This guy. Yes, we're talking about what Almir said last week on stream about Payday 3 Legacy Heists, a feature that Payday 3 is going to undoubtedly get more of down the line, where old heists from previous Payday games are put back into Payday 3, refreshed, modernized, with mechanics changed or altered to fit Payday 3's gameplay style. But it was previously stated that all Legacy heists will be free when they were added to Payday 3. But that seems to have potentially changed. So today, we're talking about what Almir said, what it means for the future of Payday 3, and my own personal 2 cents on the situation. But before we get into that, if you are new to this channel, as always, please do feel free to click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all future news for Payday 3 on all platforms. Or if you keep coming back and you haven't pressed the button either, then please go for it. It really would support me, and it's free for you to do. We're going to play some Turbid Station, purely because I'd like to get some gameplay of Legacy Heist while I talk about this, but also just because I want to do something that's chill while I'm talking. That's why I'm playing it on normal difficulty, because if I do it on anything higher, I'm going to embarrass myself. So yeah, to just summarise very briefly, if you don't know the situation with Legacy Heist, we've only had 2 up to this point, which are Turbid Station, which is a remake of Murky Station, and also on top of that we've had Cook-Off, both with mechanics changed, updated, and just built to fit Payday 3's gameplay style. And both of them, I think, were very good successes. I don't know if Murky Station was the best choice for a first Legacy Heist, but I still think what they did with it was really, really good. And people keep asking for other Legacy Heists to be added, some of the most popular ones being Shadow Raid, Big Bank, Golden Green Casino, all of which I agree with. I just really want to see First World Bank. That's one of my top requests for Legacy Heists. It's a classic Payday heist that's been seen in every Payday game so far, so it would make sense to also see it in Payday 3. But as I said, it was stated around the time that Cook-Off and Turbid Station came out for Payday 3 that all Payday 3 Legacy heists would be free. That whenever they add an old heist in Payday 2 or Payday the Heist into Payday 3, it wouldn't cost the player a dime. Except on one of Almir's Play with Almir streams on the Payday Twitch and YouTube channel last week, he asked this question.
So if, let's say we want to do a Legacy Heist, a heist based on a Payday 2 heist or a Payday the Heist, alright? But the problem is that it's super expensive to make that happen. Let's say it's like, oh, if we want to do this heist, it will cost a lot of money. Would you, in the community, be okay with that Legacy Heist being paid? Or is there like a stance in the community where an idea that all Legacy Heists have to be free, no matter how much they cost to make?
Now, to me, this isn't nearly as bad as the whole "we need you now rather than in 2 years" kind of thing that I pulled him on for an interview a couple of weeks ago, because that one was getting far more easily misconstrued and twisted when, you know, some things he did say and some things he didn't. This one, it's not really very hard to understand exactly what he's going for here. He's trying to read the room and feel what reception would be towards Legacy Heists being paid. But there is an extra clip that I don't think I've seen anyone else use in their content that I want to include first, because he was then questioned on one of his own personal streams on his Almir Gaming Twitch channel about the fact that he did previously say all Legacy Heists would be free, and he acknowledges it in this clip. But here's some more information that he provides in that streaming clip to clarify his stance.
You said several months ago that all Legacy Heists would be free. Yeah, I don't know where exactly I said it, if it was a stream or what it was, but this is a discussion we've had internally as well, because we see, you know, what we want to do, but we can't get the numbers to work unless we charge for Legacy Heist as well. Doesn't mean we're gonna charge for everyone. We're gonna do what we've always done with Payday, which is some stuff paid, some stuff free. And I think it's important for us as developers as well that we can change our minds if there's a good reason for it. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can in the thought process and the discussions we have about stuff like this. Because, yeah, again, ultimately, what we all want to see is a flourishing Payday 3, right?
So as you can see, he's well aware that they are walking back a statement that they made previously, that Legacy Heists would be free no matter what they were, but saying that they just don't have the budget to make some of these heists in Payday 3 and not charge the audience for them. He does stress that they like to balance paid and free content, and that leads me first off into my first argument about this, because really what I should do is lead with a question. If we ignore the fact that Almir previously said that all Legacy Heists would be free, would I be upset if some of them were charged? No. I personally wouldn't. Any base game heists or heists that were released for free in a previous Payday game shouldn't then be charged in another game. So for example, any of the heists in Payday the Heist that weren't the Wolfpack ones, or any of the launch game or post-launch free heists for Payday 2 should not be charged as Legacy Heists in Payday 3. That's a blanket rule, and I would genuinely apply it to all of those. I don't think you should charge for something that I can load up another game and play at no additional cost. And that's even counting the fact that if they put these heists in Payday 3, they obviously would be modernized, changed around. You look at Turbid Station, you look at Cook-Off, 2 free heists that were made better, in my personal opinion, in Payday 3 because they made use of the game's better mechanics. I've always said that stealth and gunplay are better in Payday 3 than Payday 2. It's two of the only things they nailed with no real notable downsides. And so I would personally have no real issue with them deciding to charge for legacy heists they bring back into Payday 3 if they were ones that were previously charged in either Payday the Heist or Payday 2. It's a similar stance that I have to adding characters. It's why I'm surprised that Clover was added for free to Payday 3 because she was a DLC character in Payday 2 and they would have been well within their rights to charge for her again, which is why I was surprised they didn't. Glad, don't get me wrong, but surprised nonetheless. I think there should be a blanket statement that anything you can access for no additional cost in a previous title in the franchise shouldn't then be brought back at a paid price. That's my personal opinion. You may disagree, and fair enough if you do. But going back to what Almis specifically said, one thing he noted, as I said earlier, was that Payday 3 should have a mix of free and paid content like previous Payday games, in particular Payday 2. I don't think Payday 3 is anywhere near the point right now where paid legacy heists should be in question. We haven't had nearly enough free actual game content in this game since launch. We had the 2 legacy heists at the start of the game's life cycle, yeah, sure, and they were really good additions, but what else have we had for free in that time? If we don't count actual gameplay tweaks like new skill lines, etc., actual new content like weapons, outfits, and heists, we've barely had anything. With the guns, we've had a free LMG, and we've had a couple of extra cosmetics here and there, but not nearly enough to talk about. So I personally think the balance right now between free and paid content is massively skewed in the paid content direction. I think really Payday 3 needs to focus on adding more free content before we start going down this avenue. Don't get me wrong, as I've said before, Payday 3 needs to get its DLC out within that 1-year contract that I'm assuming they have to keep to. And as long as the content is good and it's affordable, which Boys in Blue has done both of, in my opinion, then I don't really have too much of a problem with it right now. But it is still Starbreeze's job, especially going into year 2, to really start to rebalance that distribution of free and paid content, because right now it's miles off where it should be. All we know right now is that there's going to be a free heist in Payday 3 before the end of September. As far as I know, it's a completely original heist. It isn't a legacy one, and okay, fair enough, that sounds good. But that's 3 free heists in an entire year. If you spreaded those out, maybe you'd be able to be a bit more positive about it, but dropping 2 really early on and then not giving us another free heist for what will probably be 9 to 10 months is extremely disappointing, just putting it bluntly. But there are plenty of free heists in Payday 2 that could be added to Payday 3 for free as legacy heists. I mean, the base game heists aren't exactly the best in Payday 2, but there are some decent ones in there. The standard bank heist, jewelry store, diamond store. While they might not be the best heists in the game, some people really love them. I'm a big fan of Firestarter, I love a good bank heist, and Framing Frame's pretty good fun. I don't know though if they'd want to do multi-day heists, so that could create a wrinkle in the works for them there. But the point is there's plenty of chances for them to do free content in Payday 3 based on Payday 2 content without having to start charging for it. But you've also got the very important point of Payday 3 needing more original content. The only original Payday 3 character in the game right now is Pearl. 5 of the base 6 games heisters are returning characters, Clover is a returning character, and if everything they're teasing at the minute with Houston is accurate, then Houston will be the next character to be added and he's a returning character. The DLC heists, of course, are original heists for Payday 3, but the legacy heists weren't, so why not focus on that for now? Why not keep making Payday 3 heists that are original to the game for a little bit? Is there anyone particularly clamoring for only Payday 2 heists to be added for the time being? I don't know. It's all about their budget and what they can manage and them trying to make money as a business, and I get that, I really, really do. I don't know where they're at in terms of their finances at the minute. DLCs haven't performed brilliantly for them so far. Boys in Blue may well have done better. When Almir talked about it in my interview with him, he said it had a good critical reception, didn't talk about commercial reception, and I didn't really expect him to. But that means that there's a decent chance that it's done better than Syntax Error, which would be good, because Syntax Error, as we know, didn't do so hot. But they need to make sure that they're making enough money from Payday 3 year on year that they can actually supply us with free content as well as the paid, so that the money they make off the paid content is enough not just to fund the development of that paid content, but of anything they release at no additional cost. They've got to balance it out. They're a business, that makes sense. And so if that means they have to charge for particular heists in Payday 3 that were charged previously in Payday 2 or Payday the Heist, then fine, whatever. I won't love it, but I'll understand it, and it will make sense from a business standpoint. But if they do that, they have to ensure that whenever they add a heist, it is at the same level, if not better, as it was in Payday 2 or Payday the Heist. For example, if you think about the pre-planning in some of the heists like Golden Grin Casino, think about what you could do with the BFD, all the different options, extra fuel tanks, faster cutting, all those different customization options need to be in the game. Because if you release the heist and charge for it again, and then don't have the same level of versatility and customization that it had in Payday 2, people are going to feel robbed, and people are not going to want to buy the DLC, or at the very least, they're going to feel like it was half-arsed, even if it wasn't purely from the map design standpoint. And so I genuinely think that Payday 3 right now should focus more on getting some of these features from Payday 2 people have been clamoring for, and focusing on releasing original original Payday 3 content in the meantime. Add those Payday 2 features like a server browser, like pre-planning, things that people really want, and showcase them via new original Payday 3 ideas while you're doing it with new Payday 3 heists. And then in year 2 or 3, you can really start to focus on those legacy heists in between your paid content and start to bring in the things people love. There's no rush. As long as the game keeps getting supported, which as Almir said, he has faith it'll keep getting supported. Why do you need to rush all your aces immediately? You don't. I can understand Almir asking this question, but I think it was a little bit too soon to start asking about charging for legacy heists, because right now that just shouldn't be a priority. If there is a question internally, which it certainly sounds like there is, about certain legacy heists not being able to be released for free without it being a detriment to them financially, then those heists should not be in the equation. Whether they're good ones like Big Bank or Golden Grin or not, just leave those for now. We'll wait. If Payday 3 keeps getting good support and people keep coming back to the game because they're enjoying it, we will wait for the good content. Payday fans are nothing if not patient. But there's another point that I want to make amidst all this that I think is really important, and that comes down to communication, because obviously, as I've said, it was previously stated that all legacy heists will be free. Now, I get it. People sometimes have to walk back on statements and undo things they've said previously, but it is a very Starbreeze thing that communication is lacking in certain departments. Don't get me wrong, the weekly blog posts are a fantastic way to stay in touch with your audience and keep them informed on what's going on. That has come on leaps and bounds since Payday 3's launch in terms of how things are communicated, and I'm very, very happy about that. But at the same time, you still have this discrepancy between what's said on a stream, what's said in a blog. There isn't that uniform treatment to communication that would really benefit a company like Starbreeze, someone who's really trying to get their reputation back up off the floor, or through the floor if you want to really be specific, because they're not exactly well regarded at the minute with the way Payday 3 was handled, and honestly, it's understandable. I'm sure they'd agree. Some things should be disclosed in blogs, etc. that aren't. Some things are said on social media that could be easily misconstrued, and then poor Almir, head of community, will sometimes say things on his stream that haven't been said anywhere else, and so you go, well, were we meant to take that word as gospel? Did they say it anywhere else? Is it trustworthy? Is it not? Because things they say on stream, while they sound big and important, could easily be walked back in this fashion. If they establish a more specific control of the things they communicate and on what platforms, and keep it universal across all of them, then that's better for them as a company. You don't have to answer every question that fans put to you, as much as you may want to do so. Some things are best not answered if you haven't got a definitive answer at that time. And if all else fails, just be vague. It's not like Starbreeze need telling that. Some of the answers Almir even gave me in the interview recently were relatively vague, and that's because he can't offer solid opinions on things because he's not worked them out, or they haven't worked them out as a studio. So if you're asked, will all legacy heists be free? For me, I would have gone, hopefully. We'd like that to be the case. I wouldn't have immediately off the door said yes they would be, because then it comes back to bite you on the arse like it has now. Communication was at a real low point in the lead up to Payday 3's launch in the month or two afterwards, and I don't think we'll hopefully ever get that bad again. It doesn't mean, though, that there isn't space for improvement, and there definitely is, because communication is just not where it should be, because they're trying to keep in touch with the community and keep them informed, but different platforms say different things. And I don't love that. One of the things that got me a lot of attention when Payday 3 came out was I was watching a lot of these Play with Almir streams and picking up extra information and sharing that with the audience. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciated that you all liked those videos, but I'm going to keep it 100. I am not going to do that for every single stream he does. I haven't got the energy to watch Almir run around 12 heists over and over and over again, twice a week, answering questions about when Jacket's going to return and occasionally getting a nice little golden nugget of info. I love the dude. I don't want to hear the same answers 10 times over. It starts to annoy me hearing some questions get asked like 50 times when I was doing loads of those stream note-taking videos back around launch. I think as a collective, as Payday fans, we're all slowly beginning to get happier with how Payday 3 is being handled. Some people still aren't there, some people still aren't playing the game, and that's totally fair. It's not perfect, it's far from it, but it's definitely a damn sight better than it was at launch. But there are things that definitely could improve how this game is regarded. Communication being more solid and uniform across all platforms would be one of them, because they're trying their best to be honest with their audience. That was the whole point of them talking about paying for legacy heists now, because they want to warn the audience ahead of time that they're going to do that, and that's good. I'm glad they've done that. But the inconsistency of said communication means that as a company you become less trustworthy and reliable if something you've previously said gets walked back on. I think words need to be had internally just to re-clarify and refocus what can and can't be said as a company, just so they don't make these mistakes again. Because like I said, I don't think charging for legacy heists if they were previously paid is a bad idea. I just think that they need to be more specific about how they address this issue, rather than promising one thing and then starting to go, hey, so if we walk back on this, are you gonna hate us? Because it's just not needed. You created that hole for yourself, and I don't think there'd be nearly as much of a fuss if you just said from the start we might charge for some, versus we're not gonna, but what if we do? But I am still glad they're going to do legacy heists. Like I said, I want there to be original content in Payday 3. I don't want this to just suddenly be a new sandbox for Payday 2 stuff to get lumped into, but I like the idea of them bringing legacy things back, so I'm not against them doing that. I think that's not a bad idea. There is something that could help offset this problem of charging for legacy heists. And that's doing what they did with the Wolf Pack in Payday 2, because the Wolf Pack contained 2 heists that were DLC in Payday the Heist, but if you owned those DLCs in Payday the Heist, when they came out in Payday 2, you got them for free. You could just play them in Payday 2 at no additional cost, because you'd already put that money into the company when they first were released for the first game. And it means that no consumer, hopefully, has to pay for the same thing twice. That's a good way to do it. You'll still make some money off the heists, hopefully enough to support you, but people who've put that money into your company previously and have stuck by you, which, as they've said, counts for a lot with this company, then they get to get the extra content for no additional cost. That's important. You'll have the console players like myself, who, had I not switched to PC, I'd be in the exact same boat as a lot of you, where there are heists like the White House, for example, if that got made, or ones even the Revival era, like Bullock's Mansion. Really fun heists, but console players never got a chance to play. So for that audience specifically, a lot of people will jump in and buy those legacy heists, but people who play them in Payday 2 then won't have to because they'll already previously own them. I don't know how seamless that would be though, because obviously the console versions of Payday 2 never quite got to where they should be. They were miles behind by the end of Payday 2's life, and I don't know how strong their tracking would be of ownership on Xbox and PlayStation, for example, for certain heists and DLCs versus what it was like on PC. If they can set that up so they track it accurately across all platforms, that would be great, but I have a sneaking suspicion that console tracking wouldn't work nearly as well. I mean, think about the infamous reward system that Payday 3 had at launch, where the more things you'd done in Payday 2, the more rewards you got in Payday 3 at launch. There was no console tracking for that. It was all just PC players. So if you'd got to a certain level of infamy on console, that didn't mean anything and you wouldn't get the reward had you done it on PC. So I worry about that. But either way, even trying to get us towards that would be a good start and it would make a huge difference. So I think there's plenty of ways they can do this right, and that's why I've lobbied a few of them here, but I do want you all to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as to how you'd like to see a legacy heist handled in Payday 3. Do you think any of them should be charged for? Do you think none of them should be charged for? Let me know what you think. I'm really intrigued to see what the overall consensus is on this. I mean, there's been a couple of days for people to start forming their own opinion since this came out. I was busy at a couple of conventions in Manchester at the weekend, so I didn't have a chance to get this video out sooner. Thank you, by the way, to people who came up and met me there. There were quite a few, and it was really nice. But I still want to get my thoughts out on this, because I think it's quite important, and I want to get the audience's take on this whole situation. It's not necessarily some big urgent drama, but it's still something worth talking about, and I value the opinions of you guys. Oh, looks like that's my cue to get out of here, because I am out of pages. So yeah, that'll do me for today. Thank you all for listening to this video, watching this video with my thoughts on legacy heists being charged. Like I said, I don't think it's a huge issue. I think it's just an issue that could have been better handled if communication been better. But overall, I'm not against the idea personally. I think there's a time and a place, and I'm not sure we're at that time right now, but we'll just see how things go over the next few months. Let's get the year 1 content out of the way, and then see what Starbreeze have to do going forward. But thank you all for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and click that subscribe button if you want to see future content for Payday 3 on this channel. I'll see you all later this week, hopefully with a dev blog video. I'm going to be very busy at the weekend, so hopefully I get that blog sent to me early. If not, if there's a couple of days before that blog video comes out, bear with me. I will still report whatever they do. But thank you all for watching. See you all soon with a new video. Look after yourselves, stay safe, see you in the next one.